some of the things we've been exploring and working on, and we'll just have a general chat about the future of chat assistants and perhaps how this could benefit and be productive to society. Nathan, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, thanks for the intro. Yeah, excited to be back for another week. So this week we're going to do a deeper dive into the chat endpoint of OpenAI's API and see how it can be used. We'll also talk about how that's maybe just one of the steps and moving forwards how other context can be injected into the chat in order to drive different applications. We're also going to explore some avenues for actually using the chat in a real world scenario. So like how can we package it up as an app? How can we use it as a personal tool, a personal assistant, and some things like that. And we'll be doing a bit of a live explore of these solutions, discussing back and forwards of what Roger and I have both learned during the week, sharing our knowledge with each other and hopefully with you. So hope
Yeah,
you enjoy it.
cool.
Comment down below if you've got other cool tools or other interesting projects that you want us to know about, and we'll go and explore those as well. Very keen to hear about any open source efforts or even commercial products that are doing a good job at this. We're currently in the process of building out a startup that is focused on some of this technology. And so, hence the motivation to do a deeper dive into it. And in the coming weeks, we'll cover some of the topics that we'll eventually be building into the startup that we are kicking off. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So I thought perhaps it would be good to kick off with a quick little discussion about the ChatGPT API, and it's called the Chat Completion Endpoint. And you can essentially go to the OpenAI website and see exactly what this is all about. But essentially, it's the ChatGPT, the model that they've created with ChatGPT, which we've always known is a slightly better model than the GPT Da Vinci model that has been provided by the OpenAI API for a while. And this one's called, instead of the previous model on OpenAI was Text Da Vinci 3, which a lot of people have been using for content generation, writing blogs and doing video scripts and all those types of things. And there were ways you could hack it in a way that enabled you to treat it like a chat assistant. And Nathan and I both tried that process where you can basically have a Q&A and it continues the conversation with you. Whereas the GPT 3.5-Turbo API, which is essentially the same API that you use with the ChatGPT interface, handles a lot of that chat style conversational dialogue for you, which is really great. They've also reduced the cost by 90%, which is incredible because it was already pretty ridiculously cheap to use in terms of the Da Vinci 3 model. So basically, you can now add a AI chat assistant or engine to any number of applications. And so this is going to probably revolutionize a lot of things because you can, in a way, train it and teach it to respond in a manner that's congruent to the audience of perhaps your application or something like that. So you could teach it to be a financial coach. You could teach it to be a grade school teacher. You could teach it to talk like and use the language like whatever the target audience is. You just have to give it that persona when you first build the system. And there's an example of that below. The other great thing about it is you can pretty well rapidly build smart projects now. So not only have you got people rushing to incorporate this kind of assistance for customer service in their existing applications, for perhaps guiding leads or potential leads through the lead nurturing process live on their website. You could potentially use this for another use case that Nathan and I were discussing earlier today was for, what are they called, NPCs in games, giving them essentially a mind for them to talk to. And it's just, rather than the app being so heavy and having the model, just calling this a third-party API or this API, or you could wrap your own API around this API. You can literally just suddenly turn NPCs into this fairly intelligent human that you can ask to do things potentially within the game.